It's a great honor and a privilege to introduce Esther Schlesinger. We're here in Efrat. And Esther, thank you so much for agreeing to tell us your journey and your story and the story of your family.
I would like to talk in Hebrew, but I will speak in English and make a lot of mistakes.
That's fine, Esther. It's such a cover.
I was born in Hungary, in a town near Slovakia, up from Budapest. We were a family with 6 children. My father had a vineyard, a very special vineyard, and a very nice story. When my father came to see his Kale, my mother, he asked his youngest brother to come with him and to see the Kale. And they entered my grandfather's house. And when they came up, my father asked him, "Tell me, how is my Kale?" And his brother answered, "I did not look at her, but she has a sister something." The end was the 2 brothers married 2 sisters, and my sweet grandfather, who was very well off, gave them a nedunya, a present that usually you will not hear like this. He gave them a mountain near the town, because they were both people who make wine, I don't know how to say it, and my grandfather knew that they will do with it something very good. So they built 2 houses near the end of the mountain, and in the mountain they dig a very, very modern vineyard that all the walls were with stones and keep through the whole year the same temperature that the wine need. I have a picture about it. Can I show you?
And Esther, this is the book that you've written.
Here is a picture of the vineyard. Quickly. I don't see it. Here. One of it has many rooms. This is one room of the vineyard. And we were a family from my father's side, all of them rabbinic person, and I know where the family started, because after each of them they wrote a book, She'elot Utshuvot, and in the first page they wrote where he was Rav, where his children are, and I can go back in the history of my father's family very, very far, and we have a lot of books from them. He was also My grandfather was a rabbi in the town that I was born. He was a very loved person, and he was 50-year rabbi in the town. He died before the Holocaust.
Was he in the town? Was this the shul of...
This was his shul.
Died in 1931.
Yes, you are right.
So I'm just going to show, this is this is a picture of the synagogue.
This is the picture of the synagogue, and I was told that when he was very, very old, but they loved him so much that his students took him in Shabbat to Bet Knesset, holding him, and whenever he was speaking, all the Kehillah was coming close to him. He was very, very special man, and I heard a lot of stories about him. My mother's family was more rich, if I can tell it. My grandfather, sweet grandfather, was Rosh HaKahal,
The head of
Rashi Kolel.
the head of the community.
Here he is with my aunt, his daughter. And all through the Holocaust, I was remembering him. He loved me very much, and it gave me a lot of nechama. I was thinking about, he had a special name for me, Söske. It means like shaten, light hair. And it was so good during the war to remember those feelings. And I loved him very, very much. He was Rosh HaKahal, and it came out that our family was in the town. And in those days, children were not supposed to know what is going around, because nobody talked with us about what is going on. The Jewish people could not hold radio. TV was not. So nothing prepared us to what is coming. The Jewish people in Hungary, they made a big mistake. They thought that what is going on for all the European Jews will not come to them, because they are so patriotic to the Hungary land that they even did not know Yiddish. They know German or Hungary. And so we did not know that something bad is coming. I was 5 and something when my father disappeared. And I did not understand. I thought he will come back for Shabbat, and then another Shabbat, and he is not coming. But none of us, the 6 children, asked about it. The second thing that I remember, like the war is coming to us, is that a woman who always was coming to us to make the new clothes for the new time, came, and instead of taking out many different the fabrics, she took out a yellow fabric and started to cut stars. And I remember myself standing near her and asking, why are you making so many stars? And she did not answer. And then she took my brother's coat. My brother was 12 years old. And I said, boys don't need stars on the coat. And she did not answer. And she takes the other coat, and also, and I looked at her, how come boys are not wearing such a thing? I understand what this star say only when I went out of my home with a red bag, very proud that I have a new bag, and I walked in the street, and a girl came to me, looked at my coat, and then she took my bag and went. And I started to cry, this is my bag, what are you doing? And on the other side of the street, there was a policeman. And I was taught from young age, when you have a problem in the street, go to the police and talk very benimus, very nicely.
Respectful.
And I came to him and I said, policeman, this girl took my bag. And he looked at me, and I could not understand. Slowly by slowly, the world became different. It is not that I know what it means to be in war, but everything was changing. And then one day, my sweet mother said, children, we are going to stay in grandfather's house. And we jumped. My grandfather's house, it means candy, it means hugging, it means everything good and delightful. And when we entered, it was a ghetto. And in my grandfather's house was not only he and the family, it was full of people. And there were not one who was smiling, nobody was cheerful, nothing. We came to a house full of people that we don't know. Some crying, some... It was disaster. And you have to take it. Now, in the past, I never talked about the Holocaust. But when I came here to Efrat, something opened, and I could talk about it, and there is also another reason. I feel so angry and sad that my mother, my brothers has no kever.
No grave.
No grave. I never said Shiva after them. It is like they were here, but nobody knows. They are in the air. Like even the feld, Adama,
The soil.
the soil can't afford them. And when I started, I want to talk because I can tell their name. I can make them to be not something in my soul. They were. My oldest brother was 12 years old, started to prepare himself to bar mitzvah. His name was Mendy, and he was so dear. The second one was David, Dudi, we called him, and he was 10 years old. He was shovav, funny, make always jokes. After him came my sister, Baruch Hashem, she is here in Israel. I am number 4. After me was a little sweet sister, Ruthie, 3 maybe, and a baby.
And I think we have a picture, yeah.
I have a picture. Through all the Holocaust, my father had this picture in his pocket or something. This is Mendy, the oldest brother. Here is my sister, who is here in Israel. This is me, and this is Dudi. And the picture is, you can see that how it was mekupal. Like this, my father held it through the whole war. I have also a picture of my little sister, Ruthie. And you know, I never ask from my children to give names after them, but they gave it even so. I have a granddaughter, Ruthie. I have a grandson, Dudi Davidi. I have Menachem. And a very nice story. My youngest son and his wife were here with my children, here in our house. And she was with label, and they did not know if to go to hospital to have the birth, or they have time until the Chag will end. It was Simchat Torah. And a doctor came and checked her, and he said, run to the hospital. They were coming out of the house to the auto, to the car, and one of my grandchildren, 10 years old, ran after them and said, Father, you remember we did not give the name Menachem. I can't forget it. I never said, I never asked. They are so sweet. They are special. So we were 6 children. In the ghetto of my town, the name is very hard, Shalgotarian. This is the name of my town. And one day, a woman came in. She wanted to meet my grandfather, the Rosh HaKahal. She was very rude, and she pushed the way, and she said to him, this night I am going to take my granddaughter from the ghetto and to hide her. And she said, this is what I heard later on, he said, why? And she said, because they are going to kill all of you. And my dear grandfather, who had under the star also all kind of medals from the First World War. He was an officer in the Hungarian army. And he answered, they will not, our neighbor will not let them to hurt us. And she laughed at him and said, you will see, they will kill all of you. And she said again, when it will be dark, I will come back and take out my granddaughter. And she went down, left, it was a Jewish street, the ghetto. My mother gathered her children, us, ran after the woman, and she cried, wait, wait. So the woman stopped, looked at my mother, what do you want? And my mother said, save my children too. And she looked at the 6 children and she asked, whom? And my mother started with Mandy, the oldest son, him. And she said, then my mother said, him, Dudi, the 10 years old. And she was very angry. Don't you know that boys we can save? In every, when they stop the people and look at them, in every moment they can take off their clothes and find out that they are Jewish. Boys, you never save. So my mother said, then my daughter. And she looked at my sister, who was so beautiful, and she said, she looks very Jewish. Her hair is black. And then she looked at me, and she looked and said, her I can save. She don't look Jewish. Here I have to tell you a story. Can I enter? We were in London. My husband is a Madaan scientist, and he had to give a lecture in a conference. And I was free, so I thought I have to go to make my hair. And I enter a shop. I sat on the chair opposite to the big mirror, and the man came to ask what kind of cutting I want. I looked at him in the mirror, and I want to rush out because he was with every all the colors in his hair. He had a gilim,
earrings.
He had everything, and I thought, I know I enter. I have no idea how I will come out from here. And I looked at him in the mirror, and we started to talk. And then he asked me, where are you from? And as a Jewish girl, I said, Tenachesh, sing, what you think? And he looked at me, and he said, Germany. And I jumped from the chair and I said, the opposite. And he looked at me and said, Israel? And in this moment I thought it myself, it will be okay. If a person thinks the opposite is Israel, he is something. So I go back to my story. She said she can save me because I don't look Jewish. But my mother tried also, my little sister, but she also has black hair. So it came out that in the evening she can save only me. And she and my mother talk about the money and where and when. We went back to the ghetto to prepare the evening. And this is something that I remember very, very clear. In the kitchen, full of people, on a chair, a round, high chair, like in pub. My mother put me and tried to see what clothes and so on. And she said, Esther, in the evening you will go with this woman. And I asked, and who else? And she said, in the evening you will go with this woman. And I said, and who else? And who else? And in the end, I started to cry. I don't want to leave you. I want to stay with you. And my mother looked at me, and then she ran to one of the rooms and came back with a special, with a lot of color, mitpachat.
It's like a scarf.
Scarf, and took my sister hair down, and she hid her hair, and she asked the people around, now does she look like a Jewish? Said no. And in the evening my mother took my sister with a scarf and me, and we met the woman. And this is also something that changed your mind, because we were always having, everybody was treating us very nice. And you had, אולי תסגור. And this woman said, we are going on a train. I don't know you. Don't look at me. Don't speak at me. Because if somebody is coming to search, I don't know you. If I go down, don't go just after me. Wait and then come down from the train. Don't look at me, don't talk at me, I don't know you. And until then we were so saved. Always somebody was look after us. Always somebody think.
Okay, Esther.
You can close. Also the window.
And you remember saying goodbye to your mother?
No.
And to your brothers?
Nothing. I remember the last thing, standing, and my mother looked back to the people when I started to cry, I want to stay, and she said, like this little, understand what is going on. This I remember. I don't remember how we said goodbye, how I kissed her, what were her last, nothing, like it is something black and I really, when I tell my story, I don't have time how long something happened. I only go after the feelings that I remember, the things that I remember. I don't remember where the train went, when we came down, nothing. I remember being afraid that I will fall in sleep and she will leave us. I was afraid if I go to the toilet, I will not find my way back. All kind of things that this I remember.
Had you ever been on a train before?
I am sure I was. I don't remember it, but we were traveling, going, coming. We had car before the war. And one day, this I remember, we were on a agala,
A wagon.
a wagon with a lot of something for animals, and in some time it stopped near a very farmhouse. No electric, no nothing, very, very simple. Before the door, 3 women were standing, and he stopped and said, "Go down." And we went down, my sister and me. And a woman, I remember the one who was in the middle, said, "Oh, my cousins came from Budapest." And it was the first time we saw her. We were not cousins. She was very afraid that somebody will find out that she is hiding 2 Jewish girls. So she said, "We are cousins." And her aim was to take from us all kind of things that will show where we came from. So she immediately took away our shoes, our coat, because it was in good condition and she could sell it in the market. She taught us how to pray, how to behave in the church. She told us what the Jewish people are. They killed whom they killed. I remember the sentence that I had to learn, that they eat garlic, that they eat onion, that they love money, that they are cheap, that they are everything. But she did not understand that I have no idea what it means to be Jew. I know I am Esther. I know to say Kriyat Shema, but I did not know I am Jewish. So I said whatever she wants from me. And we had to pick up in the field all kind of things. But because she took our shoes, the children in their village always ran out without anything. So it did not hurt them. But with it was very quickly a big wound, our feet. And when it was wound, you can't pick up enough wood, and then you don't get enough food, and so on. And there was another thing. she had a cousin or some relative, I don't know how, who was one of the Nyilas. It means Hungarian people who joined the Nazis. And during the war, they were very good students of the Nazis, and they did a big job on the Jewish. And she was afraid he will find out that she hid children. No, my mother said to the woman, I give you the money, but give the woman only half before, and tell her that the other part she will get when she bring back healthy the girls. So we were very yekarim.
Very dear.
Very dear. But she was afraid he will find out. He will know that we are not cousins. So whenever he was coming near the village, there was no phone, but the train went through the fields. And when it stopped and somebody came down to this village, the children in the field were always shouting, Mrs. this and this, there's this coming. And it was a good, because when she heard he is coming, we had to disappear. If he was close, we had to go into the cabinet. If we were outside, we had to jump into where you put the food for the animals and cover with all kind of, until he will go. And we were better when it was outside, because then we can at night to take off and go to drink water, to go to. But when it was in the house, you have to hold all the biolog things. You can cough, you can't ask for water, you can't go out to toilet, nothing. You are there, but you have to pretend you are not. And we were there. The war in Hungary was very short, very quick, and they already learned from Poland and Czechoslovakia and all the countries what is the best way to kill many Jews in short time and quickly. And they did it in Hungary very quickly, in short time. My aunt was in Budapest, and in Budapest they did not start to send the Jews to Auschwitz. It was later. It was everybody thought the war is coming to end because the Russians, the America come close, and the German. When I speak about it, I can't understand it. They were losing the war. They could use the train for having all kind of guns and weapon and whatever a war need. But they took the trains quickly as it can be to kill Jewish people. My aunt thought the war is coming to end, and she has to take us out from the hidden place because nobody knows where we are. And she was afraid that she, later on, they will kill us, give us to the something will hurt us. She has to take us out. So she need, and she has to do something to give the money and to find somebody to go to the place and pick us up. But she could not do it herself because she has a little boy in my age, and we are friends until now, always like brothers. She could not leave him because she did not know if she would come back. But she need. So first she said it in the, I don't know how, and the young Tnuot, the youth,
it's like a youth movement.
They knew already that most of the Jewish people in Hungary were killed. So they take an aim to save every Jew's life. They did not think about them. They were 16, 17, 18, 20. And where they could do anything good, they will. So one day, a girl, a very nice, blonde hair, with high heels, with a very nice coat, came down from the train. We were in the field, and she was looking in the field, and she was so outsider from the whole thing. And I don't know how she came to me, Esther. And I jumped because they changed our name. Esther was too Jewish. I was, I think, Evelyn or Emily, somebody, but not Esther. It was forbidden. And she said, Esther, and I jumped. And she said she saw, and she was afraid I will let her up and cry or something, and they will find out that she are under not her zehut, identity, a fake identity. So she said, Esther, I came to take you to your mother. She is waiting in the station in Budapest. There are no such a sentence that make miracle like your mother is waiting for you. I took her hand and shouted at my sister the name that we called her at home. And she was jumping, shh, what? She's taking us to mommy, to mommy. And she ran and took the other hand. Come, the train was very close. But she said, I have to give the money. And the money was another problem that my aunt told later. She was very rich, but a Jewish house was not closed. Everybody can enter and take whatever he wants. She has nothing at home, nothing that she can sell and have value of it and have money to save the girls. And she told me she was going from one end to the other in her house. And in one moment, she remembered that a man came to pay the money of the wine he bought before, And it was already bedtime, so she took the money, did not look at it, put on a newspaper and put it after the Talmud in the around.
In the bookcase.
In the bookcase, and it was there. And when she was walking, and she ran to the place, and it was there. Nobody stole Talmud, and it was enough money. And the young woman took our hands. We went back to the woman. She gave her the money, and we went back to the train. And as I said, I remember feeling it was, I think, a train that go fast.
Esther, can I just ask you, when you said goodbye to the lady who had saved you, did you have any feelings for her?
No. I don't know her name. I don't know where was the village.
Was she kind to you and your sister?
She was. I did not like her. I was happy
You were happy to leave?
to leave and to go to mommy. There is nothing compared to this. I did not say goodbye. I was holding her hand that it will be true. She will be there. And we get to the station in Budapest. And now it was two things. She wanted to escape as quickly as can be, so nobody will look at her identity. And I was going to find my mother. So I left her hand and started to run around the station looking at everybody. And I have to tell something. We were traveling. Whenever I came to an old station, not the new one, but old station, I always leave my dear husband and say to me, I have to go. And I go around and I'm very realistic. I know how many years went, but I have to look. And I think maybe one old woman will sit on a chair and I will go to her and I say, Mommy, are you waiting for me? I know it is stupid. I know it is something it can't be. I am looking for her all my life. And maybe one of the things that never anybody told me, what happened to her, what happened to my brothers. I had to guess everything. I had to, like I was after the war, when all the people who came and gathered and everyone started to tell his story. From early in the morning, I hide under a table that have a cover and thought maybe somebody will say something about my family. But we came, my aunt, in meantime, find a different location. I hope everyone heard about Wallenberg, the angel from Sweden. He tried to save as he can. And he took a very big house in Budapest with a lot of little apartments and said it is Sweden location. German, Hungarian can't enter. It is Sweden Rechush.
It's like a safe house.
Safe house. Bait Mugan.
A
Safe house. Bait Mugan. And she find a little location up in this house. And it is important to see, this is a house like 4 walls. In the middle there is a yard, 2 open doors in the yard. One, a man is standing there to see who is coming, going, and the other side to take out the garbage. This is a house, and only one staircase going from the 3rd floor down. To this place she took us to be with my aunt until the war will end. But she and nobody else knew that in one night, it was the time that sometimes the German win and the Russian run back, and sometimes the Russian came near and the German went out of Budapest. It was like a play. One evening, when a long shayara, a lot of tanks together, how you say it, shayara, a convoy of tanks, German tanks, started to leave, to run away from the Russian. Somebody from this house, angry and with all of the pain, a Jewish person, I think, went to the window and started to the night to shout, "You German, it got to you. What you did, now it will happen to you." Something like this, I don't know what. But what I heard is that you can't really understand. The convoy stopped. Instead of running, stop. A Jewish person shouted at the German, the big sin. They stopped, and like in a movie, from one of the tanks, the round thing came up. Somebody came out with a special cap with binoculars, looked where it came from until he catched the place. Then he took from the down a megaphone and started to shout. He found out the name of the street and the number. Utca is in Hungary street. Nepsin has Utca. Number this is this. You will pay for it. And again shouted. It was night, it was dark. Then he took down everything, went down, closed, and the convoy went on. Nobody knew it was between, but they came back one time. And what they said they did. And I don't like, whenever I speak about the Holocaust, I wrote about what happened there in my book. And always I ask somebody, maybe you can read it, and I go away. But what really happened, a group of German or the Nazi Hungarian entered the building. and started to take out all the people. And they started to shoot all over the place. And we were on the top. And my aunt said, children, hold. We were 3 children. My cousin, my sister, and me, hold hands. And we did not know how to move because it was steps. And all the place was full of people who already felt down or died or wounded, and after you they are with the guns, with everything, and go, and but you don't know where to put your leg. I remember, it is so funny, but I remember a woman on the stairs with her handbag on her body, but a book open. And I remember thinking, how can she read like this? This book. And they started to push her, and we had to go over people. And they continued to shoot everywhere. Who was on his leg came down. They gathered us and started to shoot to the... And first, my cousin started to cry, Mommy, a bad man hurt me. She got a bullet in his leg. Then my aunt fell down, she got a bullet in her leg. Then I felt something hit me, and I started to have blood on me. And then they put all the people who was hit, wounded, in the place where the garbage is going, and very few who stayed, and my sister between them, they asked them to stand near the wall, face to the wall, so they can kill the shoe. And then I remember my aunt holding my hand like this. I didn't know what it means. She wanted to know when I going, because I got a bullet here and inside. And then somebody came with a wagon with horse, and they shouted at him, put all what is in the end on it and threw it in the Budapest garbage place. So somebody took me up, threw me on a... People covered me with other people. I could find a place to breathe. And until the wagon started to move, it was also night. It was raining a little. And the wagon started to go to the garbage place. And in the way, we went through a pub, a place where they sold wine. And maybe we are lucky that this man loved it. So he said something, and not to be catched, he took and hid the wagon after the street and entered to drink. We were there, some Ne'enachim, that some died, and I don't know what. And then there was a voice near the wagon. Don't be afraid. I am wearing Nazi suit, uniform, but I am Jewish like you. I heard where they want to take you. I am going up the wagon and I will take you to the ghetto of Budapest. And he started to change the view, and until it stopped. I did not see anything new, but what I have to tell you, and this I want everybody to know, little by little, the heavy thing came out of my body. It was lighter and lighter because they took it, until two big hands came under me, and somebody, I don't know who, took me, hold me, and starting to cry. Little girl, don't die. Don't die, little girl. And you know what I was thinking? I am so dirty. How can he hug me? And I could not say a word because I could not in my position. But he continued to say, don't die, little girl. Don't die. And I remember his steps. He's going up someplace. And then holding me, crying, and asked me not to die. He sat in a chair, and another voice said, little girl, don't cry, don't move. We will make something that will save you, but it will hurt. They did not have already any anesthetic, nothing. Little girl, we will hurt you, but don't cry, don't move, because then we can't do it. And here too, I remember I was thinking, I know how not to be. I already know how not to cry. I know how not to be. But I don't remember any pain. I remember the voice of this man and the hugging of this man. And really, really, not a little pain. Only, little girl, don't die. No. And then it was shouting, 2 millimeter, 2 millimeter. I did not know what is millimeter. And the door was open, and somebody asked, what is 2 millimeter? And another voice answered, 2 millimeter between life and death. We saved the girl. And this man, oh, I would like to know who he is. I would like to do for him everything. He continued. I was all covered. I did not see anything. He took me down to the miklat, to the shelter, the shelter in the ghetto, and put me in a corner. And I could not see anybody, but I had 2 millimeter, and people are going to see who is the little 2 millimeter. And I was there until the end of the war. This is.
What happened with your sister?
Oh, this also. Life and death was in the war like nothing. She was standing. with some people, other people, and the man who was supposed to cut the people was standing, and somebody shouted, I heard it later, shouted him, Peter, and told him something, so he was moving his head. And my sister, she was 8 years old, a woman put her hand on her head, took her down, take her hand and push her, it was not push her out of the garbage door to the street. That was, she was safe.
And your aunt, was your aunt?
My aunt was wounded. She was also in the Budapest ghetto. She was also with us. They took out the bullet. She all her life had, she didn't go well. It was always...
And her child?
Boy, nothing. It was very outside. It was okay.
And when did you see your sister again? Did she come and visit you in the ghetto?
In the ghetto, they heard what happened. I don't know how, but one day she was there with us.
You must have been very relieved when you saw your sister.
This I don't remember. I remember myself in the corner, 2 millimeters. And we came to Israel in a ship of children from Marseille. We were almost the first children who came to Israel.
So, Esther, can I just ask you, when the war ended,
Yes.
do you remember the day the war ended?
I remember us, my aunt could not walk, and we on another wagon without German, and somebody put on it afuna, afuna yebesha, green something to eat. He put that we will have food, and it took us to her house, who was empty, but it was her house in Budapest. There we were, and it was not enough food, so she put us in a orphan house for children. There we had 3 times a day bed with riba, lechem riba,
Butter, jam and butter.
jam. We were there, and then my father came back from the Tzadat HaMavet, from the death march, and he came to the orphan house.
And you saw your father?
Only for a very short time, because he said, I can't stay on this field. I am going to Israel. I will march, continue my march to Israel.
But you saw him?
I
And your
saw
sister?
him, but I don't remember. I remember only the shouting, your father, our name and your father. But nothing else, I don't remember. And he went away immediately. He got to Fehrenwald. It was a camp of the survivor in Germany. And when he could tell, I don't know how, to my aunt that he is there, she sent us to him by another survival cousin that took us to him, and we were in Fehrenwald. Very
You were
short
with your
time,
father?
with my father.
And how was your reunion when you had more time to be with your father?
It was, I wrote about it. It was hard. My father went to the army much before we went to the ghetto. And I was thinking, does he know how to be a father? I didn't know. And he was a very outstanding person. A lot of young people came around him. He was like a father for a big group of people. And they were looking for their father and mother, so they all were very close to my father. And very soon we were sent to Marseille with other children.
And not with your father?
Not with my father. And a ship, Champollion, a ship of children, went to Israel. In 46, I already came to Israel.
Esther, can I just ask, with your father, was it hard to say goodbye to him, or did you develop, you and your sister, a strong connection with him?
I wrote everything. My father came after a year. He was in Kafrisin
in Cyprus.
And we were all until 16, 17. I was in Aliyat Hanor, always with other children in institute. I was not with him. He remarried and he has had 7 children, and he was really feeling we got the Holocaust because we did not come to Israel. This was how he explained what happened.
Did you have a connection with the children with your half siblings? Do you have a connection?
Yes.
And
we are close.
What happened to your father during the war when they took him away?
He never talked about it. Only when he passed away, in Nichum Avenim, somebody came and told us he was something. He made so many things he never talked about. I have to drink something.
Esther, you have a very special, it's a memory, it's not a painting, it's more than a painting.
It is, I saw Zecher LeChurban.
A memory to the destruction.
You came to a new house, there is a minhag.
It's a custom.
A custom that you do something to the wall so it is not really finished. Something remind the what happened for Beit HaMikdash, Churban.
From the temple.
So. Yes. And when we come here to Efrat, I was very pleased with this area and the place, and somehow it remind the house that we had inside the hills and whatever. So I wanted my Churban, not the old Churban. And I asked a nephew who is a artist to make me a picture with 3 different things. In the first one, I wanted him to remind the past. How was the Bet Knesset, the shul in my town? I will show you the big huge temple. This was the temple in the town that I was born and where my parents davened, and my big grandson was rabbi.
Your grandfather?
Grandfather was rabbi. When I had the courage to go back to Hungary after many years, I came to our town, and somebody from the museum in the town, not Jewish, wanted to take us around. What do you want to see? We said the first thing we want to see the shul. I remembered it. And he said, shul? There is no shul now. It is the town hall. And I said, what happened to the shul? He said, when the German was here, they took it to be the main place, and when they had to run away, they blew it up. But everything was ruined except the wall of Torah. This is how the Goy told us.
The non-Jews said.
Only the wall of Torah was standing. So I said, okay, then take us to the wall. And he said, no, we wanted to build the town hall. So we took it down, but all the pieces of the wall are marked, and they are in the museum down. We keep them. I said, okay, I want to go down to touch the stone. I came down, and in Argazim, it was on the ritzpa,
On the floor?
On the floor, inside boxes, from wood boxes, all kind of pieces of the wall. Where is my from the wall? This. And I said to the man, I want one piece. And he said, you can't, it is all market, I can't give you any piece. So I sat down and started to take one after the other until I came to this piece. It was without any mark. I took it and I said, this is mine. And I put it in my bag. This is, and I said to the man who made the picture, this here what was. Here, Khurban, what happened. But it don't finish here. Here is what I think. When I was little, and nobody told me what happened to my mother, my brother, my grandfather, my aunts, everybody. I made a solution for myself. The
bones.
The
bones.
Bones?
Bones.
Bones. The bones are in Hungary. I don't know where. It is not important. But the soul, the neshama, the neshume, don't have a place in the field. This is what I think. And I said, when I will have a home, they will come with me to my home, and they will be there in Israel. Neshamot can go through all over the world. They don't have to stay in Hungary. They will come to Israel with me. But how can I take them? So I asked him to draw the Aron HaKodesh that Bnei Israel took Bamidbar,
In the desert.
in the desert, with the angel who take care of them. And I have here Rachel Bat Moshe, when she was born, when she was died. Rachel is my dear mommy. Menachem Yosef, this is Mendy, when he was born, when he was died in Auschwitz. David Dudi, my 10 years old brother, when he was born, when he was died in Auschwitz. Ruti, my sister, also when she was born. And my little baby brother also. And here is my husband, father, who also was died in the March dead in Hungary. So we have them here, and I feel very good. They are here. And we can choose how we want to see things, how we choose to live. And I think they are with me.
It's very beautiful. May the memory always be for eternal blessing. Really, it's,
Yes,
it is eternal blessing.
Yes, yes. And when I visited our house there, I saw outside our house that there is a place that there is not very strong. It's a little move. I asked the people, can I take from my house one piece? And they look at me, this woman, what she want? And I took a piece and another piece. And I thought, this is what my parents choose to their house. This is what they step on. I want it here.
And Esther, can I ask, when you went back to Hungary,
Yes,
was it many years after the...
many.
Was it very difficult to go back to Hungary?
Very, very. I hate them, I can say it. Because it is not only the German. What the Hungarian did, not everybody. I hate the people who did it, and there was a lot.
And when you went back to your home, was it very emotional going? Do you remember? Do you still remember your home?
Very emotional. And they saw us and they said, you want to buy it back, the vineyard and the house? They said, no, it is ours. But I did not take a penny. I don't want anything from we have houses that was written on my mother's name. No, I am satisfied. I am here. I have house. I have children. I have whatever.
Did they let you go into your house?
Yes, yes.
And were they accommodating?
One person come with big dog after us. I don't like that. This is what I can say.
Sure. It's understandable, sure.
Yes.
And Esther, you wrote a book. You have you have the book with you.
Yes, everyone can have it.
It's called Candies for Mommy.
Yes. You know why? Because when I was in the first institute, they gave us once a week, or I don't know how, 2 candies. And I was 6.5-6-year-old. I remember I went out and I find a wood with hole, and I love sweet wood. But I took the candies, I put it inside the wood, and I looked up and said, God, I asked you the last week to give to my mother and brothers the candy. Now I have the other part. Take it to them. This is why I call the book Sukariot Le'ima.
Wow. And Esther, can I just ask you,
Yes.
when you came to Israel and with the youth,
Aliyat HaNoah.
was it very difficult
It was.
with the other children when they heard that you came from Europe, from the Shoah?
We were between the first children. It was hard.
It was hard.
It was hard because they did not understand what happened. It started to enter Israel. It was very early. It step by step they understand. For example, we were in a institute 60 children only, and we were studying in the town. On the way, everybody saw that we are children from the Holocaust. We were seen with the same baggage,
The same clothes?
the same clothes.
How old were you at this time?
6.5.
This was in about
First class, Kita Aleph,
but this was in about 1947,
46.
46.
46.
And you came straight to
To the institute
Even-
through athlete. It was a ship of children. They took us down in athlete and started to send everyone to another
and
place.
the British allowed because they had the white paper.
Yes, it was special for the children. And when we were going to school, it was very dangerous because in every place somebody put a hand, oh, you came from, do you have a mother? And I was thinking, what can I answer? I don't know if I have mother. Maybe she is, maybe not. Where is your brothers? I don't know, in my heart. So we started to run away when people were trying to ask us questions.
And you were together with your sister.
She went with another group. She went to another class.
But were you, did you stay in the same place?
Same institute, but I belonged to the small children and she belonged to the bigger. I have here a picture of the institute.
Sure. That's amazing. And Esther, can I ask, when you came to, it was still under British Palestine, but when you came to Eretz Israel, the feeling must have been unbelievable to know you in your own homeland.
Not only this, on the ship, everybody was crying. They did not know. We did not know what we have, what we lost, where we will go, who will take care of us. We were children, all kind of ages. And one day I was dancing and having fun or singing, and somebody came to me, how can you be happy? And I said, my father told me that in Eretz Yisrael, there are fruit so big, so sweet. We will come, dig a hole in a fruit, and we will have food and place. What is the problem? I solved the problem. But I have to tell you, I was a sad girl. I was sad girl, but I have a yomanim, yoman that you write.
A diary.
Diary. And I was 12, 11, I had a diary, and I write there. Now I am sad, but I know I will grow up, I will be happy, I will build a happy home. We will be happy. Now I am sad.
And Esther, can I ask, did you, when you made friends, were there other children that weren't from the Shoah that you made friends with?
We were all.
You were mixed?
We were all Shoah children who went to school in the town with other children.
And the other children, did they accept you?
They accept, but they were different. When the teacher said to take out the food at 10 o'clock, everybody took out what his mother put, and we, every one of us, it is different.
But did the children, when you got a bit older, did they start asking you questions about the Shoah?
You know what happened? Some years ago, we made a gathering of the children of the institute as old people became
a reunion.
And one of us asked, "Hey children, can we now tell everybody what happened to us in the war?" And we all said, "No, we never told each other what happened. Never."
And for years, did you tell your children, or did you?
I always answered. They knew that both of us, Tuvi and me, we were in a Holocaust, but the house was not in the mood of Holocaust. It was children were coming from their class, inside, outside. It was not a secret, but it was not in the, we never speak another language. We were really Israeli home.
Wow, and when did you start speaking publicly about?
When I came to Efrat,
It's 20 years ago.
Always there is a story, what can I do?
So you are the master of stories.
I am volunteer in Pinachama, here in Efrat, outside Efrat. There is a place called Pinachama. We serve the soldiers sweets, drink, ice cream, coffee, cake, everything. It's called Pinachama. It was built after two very special people who were killed by the Arab. One was Dr. Gillis and one was Sasson. And after they were killed, the wife made the place, and from the beginning I am there once in a while, every Monday, to take care with other volunteering with other friends. It was the second Intifada, and we were there. I was there with a friend, and we saw the soldiers were busy with what is going on. Nobody was inside the Pinachama. And a car came with a TV sign. They came to see how the Israelis cope with the Intifada. So they entered the Pinachama. It is warm corner, Pinachama. And I told my friend, "You take care of them, I don't want to see them. I'm going into the kitchen to cut the cakes." I didn't want to. And they were a group of 5 or 6. And I saw between them a very famous person who was in the war of Iraq, מלחמת Gingy. He was very famous. I saw him always on the TV, explaining what is going on and so on. He was in this group, the head of this group. And I was in the kitchen cutting the cake. And I felt a hand on my shoulder. You don't want to speak with us? And I said, no. And I am not a rude person. I said, no. And he asked, why? Are you angry with us? I said, yes. He said, why are you angry with us? I said, there is a globus. In English, everything was in English. There is a globus. On this globus, there are all kinds of people. Black, white, red, every group of people. And there is only a little group that you don't let them sit down. Why you always pick us outside? When we were out of Israel, we were told, go to Palestine. We thought everything that they are doing to us, it is because we are not in Palestine. Now we are here, in our place. Here also you don't let us be in peace. And he was a journalist. He said, where was this that somebody told you, go to Palestine? And I did not think, and it came out in Hungary through the Holocaust. You was in Holocaust? I said, yes. And he hugged me and he said, you see the other woman, there was a young woman in the other room. She's also Jewish. And she is living in New York. And she has a very nice life. I take you with me. You are coming to New York and I will take care of you. I said, no, you will take care of me here. Here I want that you will look after us. And he started to shout, hey, come here, here is the, how he said it, here is, טובי, מה אמרתי לך? מה אמר הכתב? Here is the action. Hey, come here, here is the action. And they came and I saw how impressed he was. And after this I thought, I can't be quiet. Maybe I have to tell. This is why I started to talk.
And Esther, you've spoken at Yad Vashem
Yes,
and
yes.
at many different schools.
Yes, yes. Because I really know that this is not my story. It is not my possession. It is the Jewish people story.
The last thing is, I just want to ask you, after what you've gone through, and you've really gone through, I mean, you saw the destruction and you saw the rebirth. You were here at before the state was born, before 1948, and you saw the Churban in Europe, and you saw the rebirth of Israel in Eretz Israel, in Israel. What message would you give to your family, your generation, and the next generation?
I will show you another picture, and this will be the answer. To show you a picture. This is my dear, beloved grandson. His name is Dvir Sorek. And before 5 months, he was killed when he took a book and a picture to give to his teacher. On his way here, very close, he was killed by a group of Arabs. But you ask me something that I want to tell you. This boy was really the essence of what we build him here. He was such a person that loved everyone, that he did so many things I can't start to tell you. And he was pure, and I thought he was strong, he was wise, he was good, and I thought such a person is really can be born here, sure where he belongs, sure how to behave, derech eretz, Talmud Torah, everything. He was really, look at him. Oh,
Esther, this is so difficult.
I can't tell you. And he is not.
Esther, please God, may his memory will always be a blessing, an eternal blessing.
It was. Everybody came to us with all the stories. He was a week before 19. He was before the army. I will not start to tell because such stories came out after him. He was so special. An hour before it happened, he entered a shop to make a picture for his teacher. It was the end of the year. And they told him it will take half an hour until they develop the film that he wanted to make the picture. And the woman told us he wanted to go and come back after half an hour. I could not let him go. Such a sweet person, I did not meet so long. And he asked him and talked. He did not let him. She did not let him go. And after an hour, he wasn't. Oh, I love him. Okay.
So Esther, you know, he has these values because of the values that you had from your parents and from your grandparents.
I hope.
And here you have a picture of your dear mother.
Yes.
The one was before she was married.
And the other after.
So Esther, your mother and your whole family would be so proud of you and your family and what you've achieved.
Yes.
I just want to, for a minute, Esther, if I could. So Esther, I just want to thank you so very much, Esther, for relating the most incredible, moving and so special, Esther. It's been, there are no words to describe, really. I'm so privileged to have met you and to have had the honor to have documented your life, really. It is your life, and it's the life of Am Yisrael. And it's the greatest honor and a privilege, and I cannot thank you enough.
Nothing.
And Esther, may you and your family just have mazel bracha
Amen.
and all of Hashem's blessings and besorah tovot, and only good things.
We are.
And all of Hashem's blessings.
We have open hand to God all the present from Lemana.
Esther, thank you so very much. And thank you for the book as well. And you should just have nachas and good health.
Amen, amen.
And may Vestrim just in happiness and everything, all of Hashem's blessings, really.
Shei.
Toda rabah.